I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence.
I always thought there was something off about Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. Poems, jazz, racial justice. A lot of people see this album as black empowerment and setting the slaves free. But what if I told you that's all a lie? What if I told you layered in this album is a man who became famous too fast, a man whose ego destroyed his life, a man who doesn't know what it means to be Kendrick Lamar? In this video, we're gonna be breaking down every story, every meaning to learn everything in this album. So I think it's time we really ask, what does it really mean to pimp a butterfly? And it all starts in the form of a saying. No context, just this line repeating over and over. Keep in mind, this is the first thing you hear. It's jarring, but it's meant to be. Not only because this saying was used in the 70s as a way to change the perspective of that word to something positive, but this one line is able to tell us the core idea of this album. Something uplifting tangled in with the word seen as harmful. But then... Now, we find out that this is Kendrick's first girlfriend, but something seems off because he used to love this girl, but now he'll be with her, and he'll only use her for sex. Still, knowing who this girl is will be important, but first, why is Kendrick acting like this? Was this always his intention, or is there something deeper going on? Because our story doesn't actually start here, it starts here, with Kendrick shaking this man's hand right after signing the record deal that's about to change his entire life. If you didn't know, Kendrick was just a broke kid from Compton, a place that shaped everything he did. But now, he just got the biggest opportunity yet. So, with the new record deal, that can only mean one thing: more money.
When I get signed, homie, I'm acting fool. Hit the dance floor, strobe lights in a row.
Kendrick is burning through cash like it's nothing. Buying cars, houses, you name it. Every opportunity he's choosing to spend and spend and spend.
Platinum on everything, platinum on wedding ring. Married to the game and a bad bitch show.
So, blinded by his newfound success, he starts dreaming about all the things he's gonna buy. And sure, it's a little irresponsible, but we have to remember that up until this point, Compton is all he's ever known. And for someone to go from this to this in a blink of an eye, what do you expect anyone to do? But Kendrick always promised that he would give back to his friends in Compton, and that was a promise he always stood for. But now we see him and he's completely forgotten about it, just enjoying how he is no longer poor.
Educated, but I got $1 million check like that.
But what Kendrick is doing with his money is the single worst thing he can do right now, because soon after, we learn that a voice has been stealthily watching Kendrick the second he signed that record deal. Every move, every idiotic purchase has been profusely analyzed by this voice, secretly hating the idea that Kendrick and the people of his color have the audacity to have this type of money. It's a crazy statement to be said, since they're literally saying colored people should not have this money. Now, we don't know who this voice is, but the accusations say enough. Because what reason does it have to be this uptight about the situation? And more importantly, what are they planning to do about it? And before Kendrick can even think, he looks up and standing there is Uncle Sam, grinning ear to ear, willing to give Kendrick anything money can buy. And how now that he's rich and famous, he should feel free to spend that cash. I mean, now that he's here, it's easier than ever.
What you want? You a house, you a car, 40 acres and a mule, a piano, a guitar, anything.
Uncle Sam gaining Kendrick's trust by promising things a man can only imagine. Saying, buddy, Kendrick, you've struggled for way too long. Go on, enjoy it. I'll take care of the rest. But I think here it's important to point out that it's clear Uncle Sam is giving very weird vibes. Not only because he pushes Kendrick to buy more and more stuff, convincing him to spend money, borrow it, just keep buying, just continuing to make him mindlessly dump his money and offering options if anything goes wrong.
2 coops, 2 chains, 2 C-notes, too much and enough, both we know. Get it all, you deserve it, Kendrick.
This man is plotting something. Whether good or bad, there's gotta be a reason for him to urge Kendrick. Because in these lines, he'll secretly tell himself, but I'm still following you because you make me live forever. So something about spending money makes Kendrick valuable and keeps Uncle Sam immortal. So then who really is Uncle Sam? Just a simple con man or something much worse? The voice from earlier was Uncle Sam, but now that doesn't make any sense because there he doesn't want Kendrick to have any money, so his plan here is to give him more money? Well, what if I told you Uncle Sam was plotting something big, a trap on Kendrick that will stop him from having money for good?
Texas will deny how Wesley sniped your ass before 35.
Taxes. Uncle Sam is going to tax Kendrick. If we look at the title of the track, we see a name that's interesting. Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes is here.
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes!
A famous African-American actor who wrote his success and then was thrown in jail for, you guessed it, taxes.
Actor Wesley Snipes of federal tax fraud and conspiracy charges, but convicted him of failing to file tax returns.
Accused of trying to get back millions of dollars from the federal government in taxes he had paid. He's also accused of failing to file tax returns for several years. Snipes has claimed he's the victim of bad advice and had no intention of cheating the IRS.
But it's important to know that Wesley Snipes claims that the reason all of this happened is because no one taught him how he should spend his money. And the same thing Uncle Sam did to Wesley Snipes, he's trying to do to Kendrick. Remember, Uncle Sam knows Kendrick just got all this money, but is too clueless on managing it. It's a trap that's been set by Uncle Sam that doesn't like that Kendrick has all this money, so he's gonna make him bankrupt by spending the money and ending him off with a huge tax break, keeping him stuck and controlled by the government. No matter how successful Kendrick might be right now, with bad taxes, publishing rights, unfair royalty checks, it can all be taken away from you. But now, here's the question. Why specifically African Americans? Why are they the main target for Uncle Sam's plan? No matter the reason, one thing is for certain. Uncle Sam is always watching, using people like Kendrick to keep himself alive, and if you don't play by his rules, he'll find a way to get you. So if you're successful and black in America, you better watch your back, because Uncle Sam always wins, and he's already planning on how to take Kendrick out next. Free is the second track on the album, and right away it drops us into something completely new and honestly kind of confusing, because for most of this track we're focused on this woman right here, and almost for a full minute she's just going off, insulting her boyfriend, calling him broke, lazy, useless, saying how this boyfriend isn't living up to her standards, her value, and what it means for her to be a man in America. And we're just sitting here thinking, who is this woman? Why is she so mad? But then she says something that changes everything.
Brand ass nigga, everybody know it, your homies know it, everybody f***ing know.
Suddenly we realize she's talking to Kendrick. She's mocking him, questioning his confidence.
Big nigga, you ain't shit. Walking around like you God's gift to earth. Nigga, you ain't shit.
2 songs in and you can already tell Kendrick's ego is sky high. He's just made it big, got money, fame, freedom, and he's feeling unstoppable. But this changes everything, because this one line brings us back to what we just saw in Wesley's theory. There, Kendrick was young, fresh out of Compton, ready to spend every dollar the second he got it. Now, he's got it, and suddenly everybody wants a piece of him. But remember, we just met Uncle Sam, someone who wants to use Kendrick to make more money, and now this woman is sounding a lot like him. She wants expensive things, a weave, new outfits. She doesn't want Kendrick, she wants what he can give her, and if he can't deliver, she'll move on to the next boyfriend, which pretty much sums up this song. Because at first she sounds like any typical gold digger, but the longer you listen, the more familiar she starts to sound. That same tone, that same demand, the same pressure saying you're not good enough unless you're spending. But then she says this
You
line.
ain't even buy me no outfit for the 4th. I need
Suddenly, it clicks. She's not just a woman, she's America. Just like Uncle Sam, she's saying you're only worth what you can give me. See, for a lot of people, capitalism sounds like some boring economics term, but here, Kendrick's showing you what it feels like. He's making money, signing deals, touring, and that means he's made it, right? But he's starting to see the truth. People don't care about him, they care about what he can sell. Capitalism turns talent, especially black talent, into profit. And at the top of it all, Uncle Sam. But Kendrick isn't having any of this, so he snaps back.
This ain't free. You looking at me like
Kendrick's whole verse sounds funny, but it's a moment of rebellion. He's saying a lot in this short amount of time, but he's basically saying, I'm not your slave. He's no longer letting Uncle Sam take advantage of him and what he's created. And if you listen closely, there's a lot of callbacks to slavery and getting back what you owe. Like here, 40 acres and a mule, not 40 ounce in a pit bull. If we rewind for a sec to the 1800s, right after slavery ended in America, the government promised every single person who was enslaved 40 acres of land and a mule. Uncle Sam's idea was, hey, you worked so hard your entire life. Here's a token of our gratitude. But Uncle Sam was lying. No one got anything. They got the land, but it was immediately taken back and given right back to the owners, leaving the newly freed slaves with nothing, which is a cycle we're consistently seeing so far. Using black people for gain, promising something they want, and throwing them away once they're done. And it's happening to Kendrick, because the industry wants to drain black artists until there's nothing left. When one burns out, they move on to the next. Just like how if you don't provide to this woman's needs, she'll find someone else. And all for a simple reason. Uncle Sam doesn't like black people with control. Notice how Uncle Sam only swooped in the second Kendrick got money. It's all for a reason. Kendrick now has value, and Uncle Sam wants to use that. See, Kendrick came from struggle and wants to tell the truth, but Uncle Sam sees this as a threat. Why? Because he wants everyone to see what he needs them to see. So he says, I'll make you rich and famous, but only if you completely shut up and play by my rules. Sign the contracts, pay the bills, and this will silence you. And I will continue to do that to every black person who comes after you. So when Kendrick yells,
this ain't free. You looking at me like
it's not just a punchline, it's a protest. He wants America to stop seeing him as a source of profit and doesn't need Uncle Sam whispering in his ear what the American dream should look like, just like he's been doing to every single black man in America. But it's kind of ironic. Kendrick thinks he's in control now. His ego's telling him, you know your worth, you're unstoppable, but he's still caught in the system. Because as many people have said, if you are not truly free, you still have a price. And Uncle Sam can always pay it. Kendrick might feel free, but really, he's still playing the same game. And for now, Uncle Sam is just watching, letting Kendrick have his moment. But one slip up, and it's over. Because when your ego is this high, the fall that comes next is going to change everything.
I'ma get my Uncle Sam no. You up? You ain't no king.
Almost done. I'll be home before sunrise. Who's there? Let go of me! You're not going anywhere, boy. All right, settle down. From this day forward, this slave is known as Toby. No. What did you say, Toby? I said no. You thought you can run from us, boy? You think you can ever leave this place? No. And just for it, I think it's time we taught you a little lesson. Now then, Toby, how about we forget all of this ever happened and you come back with us, huh? That's not my name. Oh yeah? What is your name then, slave? My name is... And it's probably the most important track so far, not only because it helps us understand how we should see Kendrick from this point on, very self-centered, thinking the whole world revolves around him, but it also marks a major turning point in the story. When you first hear King Kunta, it sounds loud, energetic, and that makes sense because that's exactly how Kendrick's been acting up until this point. But underneath all that pride, something's not right. Remember, when Kendrick was younger, he made a promise. If he ever made it out of Compton, he'd use his voice to help his people. But now, he's more focused on defending his power for himself and himself only. And in this song, you can tell something in Kendrick is not okay.
I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again.
Kendrick is back in Compton, but instead of keeping his promise, he comes home feeling like the absolute shit. At this point, he's been gone for years, out on tour, living like a celebrity. Now that he's back, something's changed. Because as soon as he gets back, he starts showing off, flexing everything he has, everything they don't. The problem, that's the opposite of how he should be acting. But it's important to understand why he's like this is because when Kendrick was trying to make it out of Compton, none of these people believed in him. So now that he's made it, he just wants to rub it in. It's gotten so bad. For almost 2 years, Kendrick could not wait to get off his Good Kid Mad City tour just to come back home and brag.
65 days times 2, I was contemplating getting on stage just to go back to the hood, see my enemy and say.
And the crazy part is, he doesn't see anything wrong with it. He's looking around shouting, "Look at me now, I'm better than you and you and you," self-crowning himself as the new king of Compton.
Where you and I was walking, now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta,
Now,
everybody
when we
wanna
look at the
cut
songs we've gone over, while all distinctly different, one thing stands out throughout: Kendrick's ego. Because as we just learned, he thinks he quote-unquote outwitted Uncle Sam, and that's why he's showing so much arrogance in this song. To say to everyone, I'm in a system meant to trap me, yet I'm still at the top of the world. Now, let's talk about the meaning behind the name King Kunta. If we look back at the story from earlier, just like how Kunta Kinte was running away from the slave masters trying to become free, Kendrick calls himself King Kunta to say, I'm running the rap game, and I'm also running away from how Uncle Sam is going to be able to control my life, and they're going to have to cut his legs off in order to stop him. Just like Kunta, Kendrick refuses to become a slave, whether it's to the industry, Uncle Sam, or anyone who's trying to control him. But look closer at the name King Kunta. It's another example of how Kendrick always blends two opposite ideas: power and control. Just like how the title To Pimp a Butterfly mixes beauty with corruption, or how he flips words like the N-word and star. And here we have the same contrast: a king, someone powerful and respected, tied to Kunta, a slave fighting for freedom. It's that constant balance between empowerment and enslavement, and that's something that's gonna matter a lot later in the story. Now, back in Compton, Kendrick keeps bragging non-stop about how much better he is than everyone else, and that's when he brings up this idea of the yams. In the song, yams represents the power and success that Kendrick currently has, and is pushed further as the thing that everybody wants but nobody has. So when Kendrick brings up the yams, he's saying, I finally got power, these people are threatened by it, and they want to take it. Because yams has always shown themes of being desirable and valuable, and this tells us a lot about where Kendrick is right now, because he's young, immature, and loves to brag. But here's the scary part: these are the exact traits Uncle Sam needs to keep someone under control. Ego, greed, pride, these are all tools that let the system control people. Throughout King Kunta, Kendrick brags about his influence, but as the album goes on, we'll see that he's using that power for the wrong reasons. And that's exactly what Uncle Sam wants. So yeah, Kendrick feels like he's at the top of the world right now, but his story is just getting started. If he doesn't clean up his act soon, it's only a matter of time before Uncle Sam finally swoops in and Kendrick becomes...
I remember you was conflicted, misusing your influence.
Institutionalized is the fourth song on To Pimp a Butterfly, and it's getting kind of strange. Song after song, Kendrick has been continuing to do whatever he wants without any repercussions whatsoever. Just taking and thinking this is what it means to be successful, becoming the most narcissistic we've ever seen him. And that's really starting to affect what kind of POV we're meant to see Kendrick at. But maybe that's the point. Kendrick's at the BET Awards, and the whole point of this event is to celebrate achievements in Black entertainment, you know, music, film, etc. And we look around and we see all these amazing and beautiful Black entertainers dressed up, smiling, having a great time. But the second we're put into Kendrick's shoes, he asks us a very specific question.
What money got to do with it when I don't know the full definition of a rap image?
Right away, we look at Kendrick and he's conflicted. On one hand, he's living out his dream of becoming a rapper, and on the other, his mind is still back in Compton.
trapped inside the ghetto and I ain't proud to admit it. Institutionalized, I keep running.
We know that being a successful rapper doesn't mean having money and fame and thinking you're free from your past. But he still doesn't know that. So he also brings up this very important word, institutionalized. The idea that a person becomes so used to living under a very strict system, all the rules and structure of that lifestyle become normal, and trying to live outside of that lifestyle becomes nearly impossible. But what context does that bring to this song? Although Kendrick is successful, his mentality has stayed the same, still acting like that kid from Compton. Because while he sits here in his own thoughts, he asks himself, what good is all this money that I have if I still feel like if I wanted to, I could kill somebody back home? Now, that's a really bold statement to be said. And this is where you can really tell he's stuck in this mindset, not knowing which world he really belongs to. Because one side of his shoulder is telling him the streets of Compton taught him more than school ever did. That's where you learn toughness, survival, discipline. The only reason you're even sitting in this seat is because of Compton.
Obvious, me, scholarship, no streets, put me through colleges.
But the truth is, Kendrick did the hard work and he earned everything he has by himself. But at this point in the album, Kendrick can't see that yet. So instead of being proud of his growth, he sits at this award show frustrated. But as Kendrick sits here, with all the other sounds muffled around him, he gets a tap on the shoulder. Yo, Doc, how much money do you think is in this building? Kendrick had completely forgotten that he had invited one of his friends from back home as a +1 to this event. And instead of being excited to be at the BET Awards, this friend immediately starts planning how he's gonna be able to rob as many people as he can in this room. Seeing people walk by with so much money on their wrists alone, he's already imagining how much money he's gonna be able to But remember, institutionalized. We're able to see firsthand how this friend is choosing to act, giving the words meaning. He doesn't see celebrities, he doesn't see accomplishments, he just sees targets. And his want to steal comes in a snap of a finger, all rooted from how he grew up. Whoa, what? You can't steal from these people, what are you talking about? Doc. After back and forth between Kendrick and his friend, he tells Kendrick that he has to steal from these people. Says these people are rich, they'll make the money back anyway. Kendrick, distraught by what his friend is saying. Then he flips the whole thing and starts calling it his defense mechanism. That's usually caused by anxiety. And the reason why is because he sees so many rich and successful black people around him that it gets him angry. He's thinking, it's so hard to become successful as a black man. So why do these people get to become famous while he's stuck at the bottom of the food chain digging for scraps? No. Then Kendrick's friend really twists it, saying, no, see, I'm the good guy in this scenario, because unlike you, I'm gonna give this money back to my people at home. So by stealing, that makes me the hero. And Kendrick sits there staring at his friend, angry, confused. He brought him here thinking that this award show would change his mindset, but instead, it's just exposing how deep that mindset goes. And for a second, this takes Kendrick back to what his grandmother used to tell him growing up. Do something about it. And it really puts him in a position he's never thought of before. Does he stay with his new friends and success that he's earned, or does he stay loyal to the people he grew up with? Because Kendrick isn't fully able to yet grasp the concept of why people don't change when they've been raised in an institutionalized environment like Compton. And he's not yet in a position to help them change. So instead of doing so, he feels obligated to pick a side. He tries to say, well, he's from Compton, he doesn't know any better. And while his intentions were pure by showing his new life to his friend in Compton, he hasn't yet realized how deeply embedded the institutionalized mindset could be. Because even if Kendrick didn't want to admit it, he secretly snuck his money in the hotel room in fear that his friend would try to steal it too. Again, reinforcing that idea that Kendrick doesn't know where he belongs right now. And it becomes clearer when we look at the poem from earlier. I remember you were conflicted, misusing your influence, which is exactly what Kendrick is doing in this song. Kendrick's misuse of influence comes from good intentions mixed with the immature mindset. He wants to help his friend, but he doesn't realize that he's in a different world, his friend isn't ready for that world, and the real help acquires more than opportunity. Not just shoving him into this scenario and expecting things to change. But if there's one thing we know for sure, Kendrick in every single one of these songs so far is showing us different traits of showing us he is not ready for change. He's not ready to become that influential person he wants to become. And I promise you, what's coming next is the single worst action he can make, and it's something that you are absolutely not ready for.
Sex.
These Walls is the 5th song on To Pimp a Butterfly, and by the time we reach this point in the album, we've been watching Kendrick move through the world doing things without fully understanding why he's doing them. He's acting uneducated, selfish, ignorant, and none of that would be strange if Kendrick wasn't acting completely oblivious to it all. But These Walls is different. This is where the entire story turns, and not for the better, but for the absolute worst. The song slowly fades in and we hear a woman moaning. It's growing louder, uncomfortable even. We don't know what's happening yet, but obviously it sounds strange. Is this woman in pleasure or is she in pain? The song starts and we're introduced to a woman in the club of Kendrick's hometown of Compton. She's out with her friends celebrating her birthday. Everyone around her having a great time, laughing, dancing, partying. But when we look at her, she's distant, out of it. And the reason isn't subtle. She's thinking about sleeping with a man. She wants to leave. She wants to go home with him. Even on her own birthday, that's all she can think about. We barely get details on this woman, but the small glimpses we do get says enough. She's sleeping with someone she shouldn't be. Someone she was explicitly warned not to be with. Which begs the question, who is he? What makes him so impossible for her to resist? And that's when we learn the mystery man she's going home with is Kendrick. And this woman wants Kendrick bad. But when Kendrick speaks, we realize that they've been doing this for a while. But listen to how Kendrick describes being with her. Your flood could be misunderstood and full of pain and resentment. Obviously, this is referring to how he makes her feel sexually, but something I haven't mentioned is that something happened to this woman. And her way of escaping that and not trying to think about it is trying to get at Kendrick. And Kendrick full-heartedly knows this. Now, this woman is practically begging Kendrick at this point, but Kendrick looks at her with zero emotion. He's with her for one reason and one reason only. And that wouldn't be an issue if we didn't learn that before Kendrick became famous, this woman absolutely hated him with every bone in her body. But now that he is famous, look at the switch up. Look how she acts now, which connects directly back to the poem we were hearing in the beginning of the album. Misusing your influence, sometimes I did the same. So it seems that each added section of the poem goes on to affect what happens in the song. And here, Kendrick is misusing his influence to sleep with this woman. But remember, this woman is broken, sad, lonely, trying to escape something painful. And all of that puts Kendrick in full control, basically saying, I'm the famous rapper. You're lucky to even be here. It's crazy when you think about it. Kendrick is using his fame to take control over this woman, sleeping with her constantly, knowing the reasons why she's doing it. But why? Why is Kendrick doing this, knowing her situation? And why is she acting like this in the first place? Well, after they finish, Kendrick gets a message, and suddenly everything makes sense, because we learn that these walls is referring to the walls of the woman's legs. Or does it? We drop into the middle of a conversation between Kendrick and a stranger in prison. Now listen to how Kendrick's voice darkens here.
Can talk, they tell you it's too late. Your destiny accepted, your fate.
He's angry with this prisoner. This prisoner is facing a life sentence, and Kendrick just sits there laughing at this man, telling him nothing, nowhere is there an escape for you at this prison. Nobody is coming to save you. Not those officers, not a single judge, not even your own mother is going to be able to change this unforgiving fate that's hit you. Wait. Why is Kendrick doing this? We just went from a woman who's using sex to escape to yelling at a man who has jail for life and laughing at his inevitable fate. So let's shift our focus to the prisoner. Who is he? What did he do? And then everything clicks.
One more time, homie. Where is you from? Hey. Where is they from? Hey, you over here from the rain,
Back in Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick's friend Dave was shot and slowly died in Kendrick's arms after going back for revenge for Kendrick's kidnapping.
Got them niggas. K-Dot, you good? You good? Yeah, blood, I'm good. Dad, you good? Hey, say something.
Everyone's story on that album got closure, except for one person, Dave's killer. He was never found until now. This man sitting across from Kendrick in prison is Dave's killer. And Kendrick, acting purely on emotion, believes this is the best way to cope. But it's really not that simple, because I don't think you guys realize what version of Kendrick we're seeing right now. This isn't the happy make raps for fun Kendrick. No, this man is going insane, and you're about to learn why. Kendrick tells Dave's killer to listen to the beginning of this song, to hear what he's been doing, to hear how he used his power.
When you play the song, rewind the first verse about me abusing my power so you can hurt.
And if we go to the beginning, Kendrick is sleeping with a woman who lost someone she loved, someone important, and her way of coping is to be with Kendrick. And that woman is Dave's killer's woman. Kendrick sits on the other side of this glass, looking this man dead in his eyes, and essentially tells him, I'm sleeping with your girl as revenge for you killing my friend, and there is nothing you can do about it. Kendrick has been sleeping with her solely to see this man suffer. He even goes into detail about what they've been doing together, details that we don't need to repeat, but just imagine being this man, your enemy, a famous rapper describing everything he's been doing to the person you love while you sit powerless behind bars for life. Kendrick is using his fame as a weapon and takes advantage of this woman's vulnerability, all because he's now a famous rapper. Oh my gosh, who is this? Who is Kendrick right now? At the end of Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick and his friends were saved by their faith. A woman prayed for them, teaching them about Jesus, shifting Kendrick's mindset.
Do you want to receive God as your personal Savior?
Even Kendrick's mother told him to give back to his community through music, to show the world he came from Compton and rose into greatness. But in this album, he hasn't followed any of that. He's doing the opposite. Ever since signing that record deal, Kendrick has bragged, wasted money, insulted his city, and acted like a complete fool. And now performs this vile act just to see someone suffer. This isn't Kendrick. At this point in the album, we've been on a roller coaster to how Kendrick chooses to show his worth. Controlled by Uncle Sam, battling this woman, bragging back home, the BET situation, and now this. He is not ready to be where he wants to be. But the question becomes, will Kendrick keep spiraling, keep acting recklessly, refusing to slow down, or will he finally realize something is deeply wrong? I guess there's only one way to find out.